Alrighty, episode 2, Shifting Perspectives. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else listening to the podcast. This is Shifting Perspectives, the Baja Beach Wellness Diaries. We are live and active, and we're excited. How you guys feeling today?
Good. Excited.
Good. Same group back. My name is Jill. I am the host. We have Bridget here again.
Hello.
We have Miss Amy, and we have Angela.
Hello.
Today we're going to talk life. We're going to open the floor on life, and I'm super excited. I just want to start off with how are we feeling? Like a check-in. Like it's Monday, we're feeling good. We're starting the week off strong. What did we all do this morning? What did we do? Let's just talk about it.
Well, I actually worked out for the first time in a little while.
Okay.
And I'm happy about that because I haven't made the time I should for myself. So I made a good start and starting with a good habit.
Good. What about you?
I'm boring. I have a long drive, so I rolled out of bed, showered, and I was out the door.
Go for it, Angela. What do we got over there?
I actually overslept.
Okay.
Yes, it was nice. I came downstairs and all the animals were fed. The dishes were put away. The dishwasher was loaded. I had coffee waiting. It was glorious.
Lovely.
So my morning started off rather well.
That's good. Yeah. Me too. That's what I like to do. I like to get up. I've been doing the 75 hard. You guys try the 75 hard yet?
No.
That thing is a challenge. So it's reading 10 pages a day. It's 2 workouts a day, inside, outside. It's eating protein. So I'm doing 160 grams of protein. It's staying within a diet. So it's been a challenge. I've been hungry. I've been tired. But getting those 10,000 steps is super easy, especially here in the salon. So I'm really happy about that. So yeah, we're rolling. I'm just trying to, be a 2T by December. So we're working on it. That leads into it leads into life though. It leads into life because I feel like life really starts with some sort of foundation, some sort of routine. Do you guys feel like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys always had a routine within your life or?
Yeah, I feel like everything's different at different chapters of your life.
Let's get
I know I always say to the girls, I used to be the person who was always 15 minutes early, constantly on way before I needed to be anywhere, and now I can not for the life of me be on time for anything. And it's just certain things just change when your responsibilities change, you have kids, and you just move into these different chapters. So I think it's good to have a routine, but I think it's really important to be able to feel into your day and pivot too, as you need to, because there's nothing, you got to figure out what the most important things are, whether it's stuff that brings you joy, and making time for those things that bring you joy, or if it's something that's important for your job or important for your children or your family, make the most important things happen and then kind of feel into the rest, I feel is how I live now.
Yeah. What do you guys feel about that? How do you feel about that? The routine, their day-to-day, just how life goes.
So I'm similar to Bridget, where it depends on certain points of my life, but I go in phases, and what happens is I get very rigid with the routine, and I'm an early morning person, so I'm up at 4:30 in the morning, and it's wonderful because nobody is up, nobody bothers me. I have that peaceful zen to myself, and I was, getting up, and I would have, my glass of water with my mineral salts, then I would have my greens, then I would have my coffee, then I would do, the vibration plate for 10 minutes, and then I would do my stretching, and then I would do my journaling, and I would, have this all laid out, right? Then what would happen is I'd get in such a great routine that if one thing threw it off, I would start to get anxiety about it and panic about it and be like, oh my gosh, my whole day is thrown off, and it's not even 5 a.m. and
you can't start over. Just go back to bed. Yeah.
Yeah. So I now just pivot and, hey, what am I feeling in this moment? And then that's what I'll do. So,
I love that. I love that because I feel like I always get so stressed.
Yeah.
With like, and I'm like, and I love that we're all in like different age groups. Like, this is so good. And I have like so much like, I'm like pushing 30, 29. I'm so scared. I don't want to say the T word, but like, I'm really excited to like talk to you guys and like ask you questions and get advice. Just especially like, how do you get there? Because this is who I am too. Like the journaling, the waking up early, like being that type of person. I love that. And then when life pivots you, when I was working all these crazy 16 hours and then now I'm trying to get back into some beautiful routine, which I love. Like, it's really hard to, where do I want to be in life? So I love that. Were you always that type of person?
No,
Okay.
no, I wasn't. And typically what I do is I come back to that if I start to feel as though I'm out of sorts and my time management is just a cluster.
Yeah.
Then I get back into that routine. But yeah, I think routine is great. And for some people, they need that every day, all day. But for me, it's just, I'm trying to let go of just some of that rigidness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think so much of that is like perfectionism too, because I am so that way. Like, and I was for a really long time, and I'm really consciously trying to break it because, like, hearing you, like, the list of things, like, I have to do X, Y, Z. And if I don't, like, do this perfectly, it just throws, and then you get anxiety from it. And it's like, when your life changes and things start to look different, you can't operate with the same map that you had before. So, it's not always about how much you produce and how much you've accomplished. Like, are those things that you're doing actually filling your cup, or are you getting fulfillment from it by just crossing it off your list?
Like,
Because I know for me,
because society told you to do this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be shifted. I really think
I love that.
we need to just change that, because you're holding yourself to this standard. Not that there's anything wrong with having standards, and if you already think that way, you're probably more ahead than you think you are, because you care about managing your time and being productive. But I think it can be so overdone, and it can cause way more harm than good in the long run.
And this is so good because we started this conversation and this is the perfect segue to that. So with the like hustle culture, we'll just call it, right? So when you say like, you're putting all this into it, you're putting all this effort, like this, all these hours, like you as a business owner, like, do you feel that if you wouldn't have put this time, this effort, this crazy demand, like, would you be in this moment where you are today because of that?
I think definitely if early on I hadn't gone through the things that I went through and put in the effort in those situations, like, I wouldn't be. Everything happens for a reason. I think knowing what I know now, I could have done it differently in a way that would have been healthier for me. And I recognize that because and now where I'm at, I've had more responsibilities than I've ever had before. I'm responsible for all you girls, and that's my top priority. I take that so seriously. And it is a lot of stress running a business, and it's not always pretty. It doesn't always look picture perfect, but that's okay. And I think what I've realized is if I don't take care of myself and constantly put myself on the back burner, I'm not going to be the best for my team. I'm not going to be the best for my family. I'm not going to be the best for Mike. Like, it trickles in every situation. So it's almost like the more that you get on your plate, the more you do need to prioritize yourself. And a lot of times almost all the time, you're the first person that you're going to put on the back burner.
Yeah.
I've had times where I didn't want to even take time to eat, like, let alone, like, I need to be working all the time. It's so easy to get stuck there. But it's not, when you look at the quality of the work coming out of being in that state, it's not as authentic, it's not as productive, it's not as healthy, it's not as good as if you are fully charged.
I love that. Yeah, that's super important. And I think like this, especially with this podcast, like just making people more aware and shifting perspectives, like understanding and showing that, hey, like, just like you said, hey, I've done that. I know what that looks like, but hey, I'm successful now, and I love that I'm able to learn this and then also teach people that you can do it in a healthier way.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I love that. Good. And what you got for us?
I actually hate the idea of having a routine, but I
Mhm.
know routines are good for me.
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of learned that my brain is wired a little bit differently than the norm. So what works for me is to have blocks of time where I have to get something done. So, if I say, okay, between 7 and 9 every day, I have to get like these two things done. Then I don't have such a strict time. It's not, okay, get up at 7:30 you do this, 7:45 you do this. If you have more of like a block of time that you have to get these certain things done, then it gives you a little bit more flexibility, because I actually really agree with Angela as far as, and the perfectionism thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the type where, if I have a strict regimen that I'm following and I do one thing wrong out of that, then my whole day is shot, and that's not productive for anybody. So I think the important thing is to have some sort of routine, but you kind of have to make it also flexible according to your life. You don't know what's going to happen in the morning. Maybe something upsets the apple cart and you have to pivot.
Yeah.
I think you really have to make it a routine, but also make it flexible.
Yeah.
And I think that just works for a lot of people. Cause again, you can't be perfect, especially like, the wellness stuff here. Everybody is so excited about it. They come in and they're like, okay, I'm going to get on this routine. And sometimes you kind of bite off more than you can chew. And you think, I missed this, that just, makes my whole week shot. And I think the most important thing about having an effective routine is to make it flexible.
Yeah, I definitely do agree with that. You can have like the schedule and you can know like the things you need to get done, like the check the boxes you need to get done. But life happens. Like this is what it is. What do you guys do? Like, like what is your one favorite thing to do to like prioritize yourself? Like, what is your thing?
Favorite thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. This isn't really prioritizing myself. I mean, I like to get outside for sure, but what I've found, now that I do a lot of work at home, I don't like being in an office, even though it's my office and it's in my house. I like to walk around. Like the girls will laugh. I'll be on conference calls. I'll be outside. I'll be walking around. I'll come out to like my dining room table and like have a whiteboard. I need to move.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't
I
like
agree.
being just like confined and sitting behind a desk. It just like almost gives me anxiety to think about just sitting behind a screen constantly. I don't want to do that. But I take, well, maybe it does kind of answer the question, because I take breaks like that. Like I need to, if I am in front of my computer, answering emails, and that's a whole other thing. Like, but like I'll take a break. Like I'll go outside, I'll take a walk, whatever it is. Sometimes you need to step away from it. And again, I've realized my perspective can be so much better if I do take a short break, versus if you're just like, I'm pushing myself, I have to do this, I have to accomplish this. Like you really have to be flexible with, and that goes into, not squirrel all over the place, but that goes into being kind to yourself. It really does, because if your whole day is derailing because you flipped your routine, you're not being kind to yourself. You're telling yourself literally, I am only valuable if I am productive. And that is terrible. Nobody should feel that way about themselves. So I think we've all been conditioned in certain ways
to just keep going, keep doing it.
To feel like that. Not that you don't have to, get up and go to work. Not that you don't have to do certain things, but to feel like if you're not, producing at your highest level, well, screw it. What is it all worth? Like, that's terrible. Like, that comes down to like how you feel about yourself. And I feel like we weren't taught how to be kind to ourselves.
Or how to prioritize ourselves in that moment.
That was at all.
Yeah, at all.
Or to give yourself grace. And that's, going back to the whole thing with, making your routine flexible. You have to be able to give yourself grace and not be hard on yourself. Like I was always the type where if I did not get something done, I am just like a piece of crap, and
That's how I feel like I'm in
just,
my stage
you
now.
know,
Yeah.
shut the door, you're done,
Yeah.
you know, and that is, you have to be kind to yourself and you have to give yourself grace. You also have to parent yourself because you know when you're not doing what you need to do, but it's a lot different than, you know, something happening and needing to pivot and needing to be flexible and giving yourself some grace.
Yeah.
So,
And a lot of times, if you're avoiding something, it's like you always see that. I've always seen things that say, like, whatever you avoid is controlling you. I've heard that before. And that resonates. But a lot of times, I'll work something up in my head. Like, I have to answer this email in a certain way, or I need to launch this, or I need to work on this on the website, whatever it is. I'll like psych myself up about it and like put it off because I think it's going to be this really big thing. But when I dive in, it's so easy, or it takes like a couple minutes, and I'm like, what was I even doing it about?
Procrastinating for.
So much that we don't talk about is our own internal dialogue. And that is, in my opinion, so powerful because your internal dialogue, your subconscious, the way you talk to yourself is literally what is showing up in your life. And, you know, there's not always that connection to that. Like the way I speak to myself in my head now, my internal dialogue is completely different than it was 5 years ago. Like I used to wake up and literally like, I feel like here are all of the things I needed to get done. And like, it was angry. It was like, why aren't you better? And like, now it's like, quiet and calm and like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do, and nothing's overwhelming. And not that I don't get overwhelmed, I totally do, but also getting curious about what triggers you to feel that way. Because like if I do get overwhelmed, I'm like, why am I feeling this way? And even just shifting that shifts the energy of it.
Where does that come from? Does it come from you just like getting older, getting wiser? Does it come from a therapy? Does it come from growth? Like where does that come from?
I am a huge advocate for therapy.
Love that.
I've been in therapy for, oh my gosh, 4 years maybe. I guess it's not that long, but
Yeah,
it feels
but
like
that's
a
good.
long
No, that's
time.
good. Yeah.
But no, I'm a huge,
It's not talked about enough.
huge advocate for therapy. I've had my kids in therapy. I've gotten away from it for a little bit. I probably should go back because I think the work on yourself is never really done. And I think it's always gives you, what I love about therapy is it gives you another perspective.
Love that.
And one of my favorite things that my therapist told me one time was zoom out on your life. Like when you zoom, and I do this in like every situation now, when you zoom out and you look at it and you look down at the world and you're like envisioning your life, like, is this even like in your big picture story? Does this even matter? And like almost every time it doesn't. And when you look at things from that different perspective, it really does change the way you're beating yourself up because you didn't do X, Y, Z today.
Right.
But no, therapy is like super. I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I think it's
Love that. What about you guys?
I think it is maybe a little bit part of getting older, but I feel like younger people are more aware of it now that you almost have to, like Bridget said, your higher self needs to kind of be the parent of you. And like when you get triggered by something, you need to have that pause. And I've been talking about the pause for so long.
Oh my God, you like invented the pause.
Yeah. Like before you react, before you have any kind of, you really need to develop, it's like a skill you need to develop, the pause. You know, before you react to something, before you think something's certain. I mean, the first thing you need to realize is your thoughts aren't necessarily true. You know, just because you have a thought doesn't mean it's true. And I think one of the most important things I've ever learned is just you have to like kind of zoom out and be aware and be like, okay, why am I feeling this way right now? Why all of a sudden, you know, when you have an emotion come up, you need to wonder, just be curious. Where did that come from? What is causing me to feel this way? And you kind of have to, you know, logically go through it. Okay, how am I feeling about this situation? Is what I'm feeling how the situation is in reality, or is it something I'm projecting in my head? You know, I think just becoming self-aware is the biggest thing. And having that pause where you can look at the situation, be curious about your emotions, and kind of go from there.
Yeah. Well said.
You got anything, Ange? Anything to add to that?
Getting back to your question that you asked Bridget regarding what do you do for self-care?
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm the last freaking person that you want to ask that to. Because,
Really?
Yeah. I don't do it.
Your morning routine is beautiful.
Yeah, but you know what?
That's a good self-care starter.
Right. It is.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
When I really think about it,
Mm-hmm.
okay, my morning routine, yeah, I do. Why do I take my mineral salt water?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, it's good for me, right? And then I have my coffee.
I tried some of that too, by the way.
Yeah, it's great. But then when we start getting into my journaling and manifesting, I came to realize that all of my journaling and manifesting was for others.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. It was for others. It wasn't for me.
Wow.
It was for other people. So
talk about that.
Yeah. It's
that
about
that gave me chills.
Yeah, it's about my kids. It's about, my mom. It's about work. It other people in my life, or my fiance. It had nothing to do really with me. So then, going on to the reading I would be doing, I'm reading books on, like not self-help books, but just, how to better myself. So yeah, there's some of that, but it's, which I think everybody needs to always be working on themselves.
Yeah.
But it was not so much of what do I do for
you,
for me. Like, it was more like, okay, how can I improve my job, my career,
right,
or my outlook on life. Like, it was like that it wasn't for
when do we start improving Angela?
What is like the warm and fuzzy?
Yeah,
it's just all agenda based, if that makes sense. And then forget it. When the kids are up and out and it's ready to go, I lost sight of the gym. I lost sight of taking walks. And then it came down to, I started having physical problems that was stemming for over a year and a half ago. And I just thought it was physical. And the more I started talking to people, somewhere in this room, and then also through my spiritual reader, and just doing more of my own research, I came to find out that there's a lot of work that I need to do on myself. And really, my self-care, what I'm doing for me right now, isn't the most ideal as far as warm and fuzzies, but it's what I need to do right now in order to get to the other side, in order to figure that out on how to take care of myself, because I really don't know how to.
Wow.
I don't know if it's from trauma. I don't know if it's from narcissistic abuse that I've experienced for countless years, that it's been ingrained in me. Like,
you don't know how to take care of you because you're taking care of them.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I have a great therapist.
That's great.
I fucking hate her, but I love her.
Yeah.
And that's a
She's
good
gonna
therapist.
tell you what's good.
Yes.
For
I
sure.
hate her.
Yeah.
But I really don't like her.
Shout out Andrew's therapist.
I don't like her at all. I don't look forward to it. But it's because
it's helping you.
Yes.
Because you're unwiring. You're conditioned to be somebody, like helping somebody else.
Yes.
And that's your brain. You literally have to uncondition your brain.
Yes.
This is psychology right now.
And I'm like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Everything's okay. I'm normal.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm just going to keep moving. I don't want to deal with emotions. I was sort of like, no, you shouldn't feel. You should be grateful for everything that's around you. What do you have to be stressed about? Your life is fine. Like, don't show emotion. Don't cry. Don't cry. Like, just keep going. It's a sign of weakness. And when that compounds, and then your body starts breaking down.
Yeah.
So,
But I do love my therapist.
Yeah.
You know, after we get
Love
into
hate.
like the first 20 minutes of
and
it.
you're crying, and you
Yeah.
start crying, and then you
Yeah.
laugh, and then we smile.
Yeah,
Are
because
you gonna cry on this episode?
Oh,
No, I'm not. No,
pass the
no.
tissues
No.
over. Pass
But
it.
yeah, it's just, you know, after the first 20 minutes and we start peeling back those layers, you know, at the end of it, it's like, wow, you know, we tapped into some stuff that I never ever questioned, you know, or thought of. And I'm like, huh, so that's where that's coming from. That's where that thinking's coming from. And I need to learn how to flip that.
And isn't that like, I love the awareness that I think society now is showing, because like the generations, like, you had a mental illness, I feel, if you saw a therapist. Can we agree? Can we agree?
Oh, yeah. You don't talk about it.
You don't talk about that. And then now it's therapy, 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 therapy. And people are like, oh, people are just going to therapy. Like, no, we need it. And as life goes on, I think life is just going to get so much better. I think everyone's going to be so much better. And I think, you know, the world is just going to go round because we're all going to start talking about it. We have feelings, and we're allowed to have feelings. And this is how I was raised too. You know, it's like, love my parents. They're great parents. They did exactly what they needed to do. It's all great. But they came from parents and parents and parents that said, hey, we don't cry. You know, we don't, you know, we just keep working hard. We put our head down and we do a great job. And, you know, you keep going. And that's just where I come from. Like, I always talked about, wake up at 5 a.m. I did my 5 to 9. Then I went to my 9 to 5. Then I did my 5 to 9 side hustle. Then I went to the 9 to 5. Like, this is what I do. And you talk about the hustle culture and everything. And then when you go from working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, 7 months, it's like, dang, like now you're burned. And that's like, it's like, this isn't the way it's supposed to be. And it's cool for a second. It's cool for, you know, a lifetime, you know, your early 20s, it's nice, but it's not the lifestyle. And I think like the way the world's supposed to go, we're supposed to talk about these things and, you know, make it make sense, you know?
100%.
Yeah.
I think, like, literally with what you said, like, what we all said, we're not here. Life is not about just fucking producing. Like,
Yeah.
it's not.
We're not machines.
It's not.
We got
it's
AI
not-
for that.
We're not machines.
Yeah.
Like, it's not all about producing. Like, when are you gonna find that it's okay to take a minute and like watch the sunrise or like do something that you want to do for you? When is that acceptable? When is that you can't wait? Because nobody knows how long they have. You can't just keep putting all that off. You have to work it into your daily life. And I think that's so important, you know, with establishing any kind of routine, wellness routine here, your own routine at home, like, give yourself grace. You have to care about yourself first, and you have to intentionally, like, I'm going to enjoy my life. No matter how bad or scary or terrible it looks, I'm going to be present and, like, you know, because what's it all going to matter?
Right.
Like, you can't take money with you.
Yep.
You're going to make more money. Like, it's, you can't live your life that way. The one thing I had to say this, so I was in a conversation with my mom the one day. I told the girls this already. But to go back to the generation thing, I forget what we were talking about. She said, I don't, but she said something to me and was like, well, you have a therapist and like everybody in your generation has a therapist. I go, that's because no one in your generation healed any of their trauma. They shoved everything down and just continued to go on. And that is not healthy.
Say it louder.
That is not healthy. Like, emotion is literally energy. It's literally something we're meant to move through. And like you saying crying is a weakness, when you said that, like, that was always so huge for me, especially being a female in business. I've been told so many times, like, oh, you cry. I by my own like family, like, you don't cry, like that makes it like you're not a weak woman, right? And like I never understood that because I had so much passion that would sometimes make me cry if it was like in a certain situation, but you feel like you can't show that part because it's weakness. It's not weakness. It's literally something that everybody has. And people who are stuffing all of that and not tuning into or moving through their emotions is that gets stuck in the body. I'll let you guys talk about stuck in the body because we're talking about that all the time, getting it out of all different areas, and there's different ways to, you know, move through that, but it's stuff you have to move.
I think you can get really stuck too with we talked about giving yourself grace. You can go too far down the self-help rabbit hole as well. And, always I've seen people like, they're always looking for like, I have to fix myself. I have to fix myself. There is nothing inherently wrong with you. Like, you are perfect and beautiful and fine just how you are. Now, maybe there's some situations in your life that you want to improve. That's what that kind of stuff is for. But I do feel like sometimes you can almost get thrown down the rabbit hole of like always trying to fix yourself and always trying instead of just creating how you want your life to be. You know what I mean? I think that's important to kind of not get stuck in the fixing sometimes and just like fix what you have to fix and then just move forward with building what you want. Like not looking at what you don't want and building what you do want.
Yeah.
I think that's an important thing. And taking care of yourself helps with that because then you can have a clear mind and more focus.
Like act as the person that you want to become.
Act as the person you want to become.
Yeah.
You have every single morning you have the opportunity to be somebody different.
Yeah.
And you have that right. If you want to be somebody different, wake up tomorrow morning and be that person.
Yeah.
And you'll get there so much faster.
Yep.
Attitude is your altitude.
Talk about it. I love that. That was powerful. Yeah. I felt that energy, like that last conversation, I really felt that energy. We're shifting. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't even know where we swirled to.
We did swirl. We swirled.
I feel like there's so much, though.
Yeah.
There's so much because we really do lose sight of this is all we have. Like, really, the present is all you have. Like, nothing's guaranteed. And if we're gonna, I'm not saying, you blow off all your responsibilities by any means, but if you're not gonna give yourself enough space to experience joy in every day because maybe you think you need to work harder to accomplish XYZ, to make, whatever figure, to improve yourself because, you're a work in progress. We're all work in progress. And like, we're all human. Like, we're supposed to make mistakes. We're allowed to make mistakes. There has to be that breathing room. And I just feel like we make so many decisions based on what other people think, what we think is the right thing to do, and what we've been told by, conditioning and family and, anyone who had, that we've looked up to or whatever it is, that if we were told a certain story, even, I'm a super self-aware person, but that builds in your subconscious. And so I think the best thing that you can do is realize, like, why do I think this? Why is my day thrown if I miss one thing on my morning routine? Why do I feel that way? Like, again, because it goes back to, it's something that was in there. It was programmed by somebody else. And feel like we are collectively trying to reverse that, and a lot of times we just really don't know how.
Yeah. Do you feel like you are like instilling it into your kids too, like in a positive way? Like you're talking to your kids more, like Angela as well. Like, do you feel like you speak to your kids more, tell them, hey, like this is what we, self-help, let's talk. Like me and my parents, we didn't really like talk about feelings. Like I said, like put your head down, it was. Like, do you feel like you're pushing the positive also down to your children too?
Yeah, I mean, definitely it completely shapes too how I'm a mom, and I'm always trying to be better. Like, always trying to be better because it's also easy for me because I am busy, because I do have a lot on my plate to, if they come to me with something, hey, I'm working on this, and I've seen how that, me putting work, they can feel me putting work before them. And, there's mom guilt that goes into that. There's all those other feelings, but I'm learning to better respond to them. I'm learning to better put down whatever. Again, it's not going to change the world or make a big difference in 2 seconds. So like, pay attention to what their needs are. And that was hard for me because, again, I felt I always had to stay to a certain standard, produce a certain amount, be the hardest working person anywhere all the time, to be able to have like that,
Yeah.
I've been given so much and I'm so grateful. I better be busting my ass and hurting. I better be hurting, because why would I deserve all this, right? Like, what is that? That is so fucked up.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it is. You shouldn't have to feel that way.
Yeah.
Like, and I think I'm
like, no, I'm deserving of this, and I'm also allowed to chill for a second.
right.
And you also have, like, you're grateful for this, you were given this, but you also are that person, you're very powerful, that you're also able to, like, coach and train a beautiful team that also can have that work ethic, that can also allow you to have that work-life balance, and then also the team has the work-life balance, and then everyone is all happy.
I think that was definitely like, as soon as like I took over, it was like, I want these, like, there's nothing more important to me. And this because you worked for me for a long time, and you too, I'm sure, is like you guys, like making sure you're healthy. And I never want to see anyone in the brain space that I've been in before to get here. And that's like so important to me. But like bringing it back to the kids real quick. I realized, like, wait, even though my kids are younger, one that's 13, but 10 and 13, but they, this is a really big time for them, middle school. So it's like, I do want to establish, and it's crazy because it's like, how do you raise kids? You look back how your parents raised you. You go in, you get good grades, whatever. And you're like, I want to see good grades. I want to see, not getting in trouble. And it's like, sometimes I take a step back and I'm like, but I don't want to like stifle their creativity or like close doors for them, or like, I'm not going to be one of those ones. This is getting to a whole other topic, but that is like, you must go to college, because like, that's what my family did for me. Love my college education, super grateful for it, love it. But that's not for everybody. That's not for everybody.
We just had this conversation with my boyfriend's son about, God bless him. We're sitting there and we're talking to him about assets. You need assets. And I got him Rich Dad, Poor Dad for Kids.
Oh my gosh.
And, I think people need to really educate themselves and educate their kids on, like, the status quo is very, very swiftly changing. And with AI coming in, there is going to be a whole different world in 5 years.
Yeah.
And, I think it really is important to not be put in that box, because, when I was getting ready to graduate high school, that was my parents. You got to go to college. You got to go to college. You got to go to college. And I am very happy I did. However, that's not necessarily like, there's not just one way to live,
or to success.
Or
you don't have to do that to be successful.
Right.
I really don't.
So we just had a conversation with him about assets, man. You got to buy assets.
And it drives me crazy that we don't, this is going to get on a whole other topic, but like, why don't we teach people about the children in school? Like, why are we learning about like geometry? And I'm sorry, I had a nun that literally would draw the figures in the room. She was crazy. And she would be like, what is this? And I was like, I have no idea. But why are we learning that? And why aren't we talking about like interest rates, mortgage, taxes, how to balance a checkbook, how to XYZ? Like, why don't we talk about the real skills that you actually need to live your life? And then we're and I think we're breaking it, but we're like, the answer is college. So we're sending these 18-year-old fresh new minds.
With
I went into college
in debt.
Exactly. I went into college with undecided, didn't know what I wanted to do, and was just like, I'm just doing this because my parents told me to, so I'm going to party and have a great time. And it's like, it was a great time. It was a great time. But
I changed my major 3 times.
Yeah.
3 totally different
And then you come
things.
out and not do your major.
Right.
And then you get different certifications. Like, now, later in life, you're doing what you actually want to do, and it's like not what you graduated to do.
It's almost like they saw like our parents and like the parents before that, it was like really, really hard to financially go to college. Like, and then it was a huge accomplishment. It's like, if you went to college, and then if you sent your kids to college, like,
my God,
I think my mom was like the first in her family to go to college. So it was like, she still talks about it, like my college degree, and very much like, it's huge for her. And it's a great thing, but it's almost like that was their checkbox.
Yeah.
Like, yes, that was,
got it.
you know, and
It's the checked boxes.
And I was told to go to college, and I'm the first one in my family to go to college. It was like, we need this first daughter to check this beautiful box. That's like, and now I'm 80 grand in debt and I'm paying for it.
so it goes on you.
Yeah, I'm paying, nobody's paying for it. I'm paying for it.
It's almost like
I'm not using my degree. I mean, I have business and psychology, cool. Like, I guess.
And I'm using mine now.
Hand in hand,
Yeah.
like, cool. But it's just like, I could have also probably gotten an associate's or got a certification to enhance, or just got experience with business, you know, just hands in different pots and learning different business ventures.
That might actually be the question that people want to ask themselves, you know, when it comes to life. Like, whose box am I checking?
Whose box am I checking?
Am I checking my boxes or am I checking somebody else's boxes? Am I checking
This is like Angela. Whose box are you checking every morning when you're journaling?
Exactly.
That's right. But you got to dig in and like know what you want.
What
and
boxes
that's tough.
do you want?
Wow.
It's tough to know what you want if you've been serving other people and not paying attention to what you actually want.
Don't check anybody's boxes but your own. Dang.
Wow.
This is getting spicy.
Yeah. Well, you know, in preparation for this conversation we had today, you know, you wanted to talk about like life's purpose, you know, so I was thinking like, okay, if somebody would ask me like, what is my life's purpose right now, you know, control. Okay, so there's the part of me where the control of letting go of the control that other people have had on me, whether it's direct or indirect, like I want to lose that. And that for the past year has been a big focus of mine, setting those boundaries and not allowing certain people to have their checkbox on me. Like, did I say that right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like why do I need to do this? Or why is this decision that I want to make being influenced by that? This is my life. I'm 43 years old. Why am I still like allowing this to happen?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
Why do I let other people dictate my life?
So I want the control of letting go and controlling who has control or influence over me. But then I want the control of allowing myself to do things for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. We could tell you journaled this morning.
I didn't.
I
overslept.
Dang, you did.
Yeah. And I came downstairs and I didn't have to do I have a wonderful man. And I did everything this morning. So yeah.
I love that.
It's date night tonight.
That's
so
good.
yeah.
We love that.
He's trying to check all the boxes for you.
Yeah, he's
check the boxes.
But yeah, it's just a matter of, you know, like I want to be able to be in control of decisions that I make or things that I do or what I allow. And I want to control my own boundaries. And I've allowed other people to dictate those for me, I feel, in the past. And it hasn't really been brought forth to life up until this past year.
How do you feel like you're getting there?
Therapy.
Yeah. That's the answer.
Therapy.
Yeah.
Therapy. And honestly, I have to give credit to my spiritual reader because there was a defining moment. She's been pushing me to go into therapy for a while. I've been going to her for years. And again, it was just therapy was just not something that, I was in it, but it was just hush hush. Like, just, what do you have to be stressed about? Why are you depressed? Look at this life. Look at everything that you have. Why do you need therapy? Just get over it.
Yeah.
But she said to me, you yourself don't like being emotional, dealing with emotions. I don't like to cry. You look at it as a sign of weakness, which that's like fucked up to even think. Right?
Yeah.
But if you can't be emotionally available to yourself, how can you be emotionally available to others?
Whoa.
And
that's what got me into therapy.
Dang.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And it
She's
all
a
just
wise
comes back
lady.
to yourself
It does. And since then,
and
going
starting with
back
yourself.
to the kids,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Since I have been in therapy,
Mm-hmm.
my relationship with my children, it's always been good,
Mm-hmm.
but I just thought, okay, yeah, I'm spending time with them. We eat dinner at the table every night. A lot of families don't even do
Yeah.
that, right? So
Yeah.
we eat dinner, besides if there's like going out or, sports and whatnot, but we
Right.
eat dinner at the table, and, I still say goodnight to them, and I get up with them in the morning. I'm their alarm clock.
Yeah.
I take them to school, have that windshield time, go to their sporting events. I thought that, hey, like, I'm actually doing more than an average parent, but I was missing the validating of their feelings.
Talking with them.
Exactly.
Yeah. You can check the boxes
Right.
with
Like,
the going to the sports, eating the dinner, but what are they feeling? How are they feeling?
yeah. So it's like they
Dang.
come home from school. How was your day?
Like, how was your day?
Yeah. And I'd be like,
Dang.
oh, yeah, well, school, but now it's more like asking those open-ended questions and getting them to talk more.
That's fun.
And saying, yeah, you know what? Like, school can be tough, or yeah, school wasn't fun for me either. Tell me what you're experiencing. I didn't do that before because I didn't want to deal with my emotions. I didn't know how to, so how can I do it for them?
Yeah.
But since I've been working on myself in that aspect, yeah, it's definitely improved my relationship with my kids.
And I feel like with parents, like the older generation parents, it's like they're so scared. Like my parents were so scared. I feel like to say like I was a teenager once too. I was a kid once too. And I watched my sister parent my niece who's 7, and she's so just like fun and active. And it's like she acts like, not a kid, but a kid, it's just the interaction is so like it's precious because you were a kid once, a parent was a kid once, and you can relate in some aspects, and there is conversation to be had, but sometimes we just go through the day to day, or we are too busy, and then you get to grow up and it's, you miss out on those feelings, and then your feelings aren't validated. So I love that. That's amazing. Yeah, I appreciate that.
It's connection.
Yeah.
Like, it all goes back to connection. Like, I know the same with my kids. Like, and you ever hear like your kids are such a mirror for you? Like, I've heard that your kids, like, you're meant to, your souls like come down and like it's a little woo woo, but like basically your souls were meant to be together, and your kids are meant to teach you something. You're meant to teach your kids. But like what you were saying, like coming home and how was school? It was good or whatever. My daughter would come home, especially last year because she was really struggling with like bullies and stuff at school. I have to talk to you like every day. It'd be like, and I love that she could talk to me, but the also managing having, and I am pretty self-aware, but having your own emotions and things that you're going through and having to like, it would almost become like, oh my God, again, like she needs so much of my emotional attention. And I realized that I needed to take steps to be more emotionally available, but that starts with working on yourself. It really, you can't fake being emotionally available for a child because they sniff it out right away. They know you're not really like focused on them. They know you're not really, they do not, it's like you can't pretend. So, but yeah, it's so important because it's like, how do we teach these kids to not be like us? Like to make it out okay and, to be a good role model, but like, I don't want them to turn out the same way, having to reverse so many things, in their mind. And we can only teach and, preach what we know from experience. So it's hard when you're navigating different parent situations and you're like, I can only pull from what I know, my toolbox. And, I think it's important that we do things differently, and we do things differently for the next generation. Because I think it's clear, with all the turmoil in the world, that it's not working. And that the way that we were taught has to be this way.
It's got to be broken. And perspectives have to be shifted.
Perspectives have to be shifted.
I think part of it too is the world changes so much all the time as well. So, you know, what worked when we were kids is not going to work now. And when your kids have kids, how they learned is not going to work because the world is constantly changing. You know, it goes back to when you used to hear your grandparents be like, when I was your age, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's, you have to kind of listen to the kids and realize life, you can give them as much advice as you can, but life is way different for them than it was for, you know, when we were kids.
Yeah. Like you're not my age. Like you're not my age at this moment. I love that. It was like that when it was your age, but you're not my age at this moment. Yeah. How do you guys feel about like parenting books, self-help books? Like what's your take on that? Do we read self-help books? I love it. I love reading them. I'm a huge advocate for them. But I know like a lot of people take like reading books is, you know, how do we feel? How do we feel?
Well, this is a fun little thing to talk about because we're actually, maybe by the time we release this episode, we'll already have.
No way, we're dropping a Baja book?
No, that'd be cool.
Yeah, well, I was thinking a Baja diary.
Ooh, we're probably going to have so many nuggets about this later. The nugget guy, our nugget, we have a stuffed nugget.
Yeah,
he's not
spicy
here
nugget.
today.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
in my Hulk at home. I need to bring him back.
Yeah,
I feel like he belongs here. But, no, we're gonna, in each store, we're gonna have these little libraries, you know, like when you go to, I just remember they have one at Reading Pediatrics, like, or little places, they have cute little libraries, and it's just like, take a book.
Like, see a book,
know?
take one, leave a book.
Leave a book.
Cute.
So we're going to have one of those in every store.
I love that.
The motivation behind it was actually one of our customers who I just tagged out on Facebook, Bonnie Hendricks. She was like, I forget, she put a post up in the beginning of the summer and was like, that she read a book from this author I love, Frida McFadden. So this goes back to your question. I do like self-help books. I used to not read because of them. I used to push myself that if I was going to read, it needs to be productive. And my best friend is a huge reader, right? And she only reads fiction for the most part. Like she only reads things to just get her mind to escape reality, to just kind of like have brain break. And this, I love Frida McFadden. I tell you guys to read her all the time. It's like short, easy reads. But I brought her a bunch of books. I brought her a bunch of books.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love that. You know, I started talking to Mal, and I was like, this would be such a cool idea. So Mal's building them with Almost Home Designs. Mal and Mike are gonna put them in all the stores. But like, I think reading can be such a tool, but when it becomes a chore, that's a problem. So like now I can read self-help books. Honestly, I listen to them more than I read them. If I'm sitting down and reading a book, I want to really just enjoy what I'm reading, and I like it to just be fiction, something that's just gonna like take me out of the moment, because I think that's important. It's important to let your brain have a break. Like
apparently I have to
it's crazy. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I got like 2 episodes.
What's it called? Hunting Wives?
Not Hunting Wives.
It's absolutely insane. Watch it by
So
yourself.
don't they sleep with a bunch of people? So are they married?
Watch it. They
Oh
are.
God.
It's a brain break and a half.
Yeah. It's good.
I'm like one of those where, again, and this is a problem that I recognize, I only read educational material or listen to educational material, and that's not healthy, you know? So I have been trying to, you know, binge. My boyfriend and I will, you know, binge watch a show, you know, not binge watch,
Brain break.
but yeah, we have brain breaks.
I like
so
that.
I've been trying to do that periodically. So I do think self-help books I think if you use them for the right reasons, they can be good. As far as getting ideas that you maybe want to further investigate, or, you know, but if you read 5 billion of them, they're going to tell you 5 billion different things. So I think it's kind of important to just pick and choose the good ideas out of them, and, you know, maybe not go overboard with them, because again, there's nothing wrong with you. But there are things you can do to improve your life, and you kind of have to look at it as that kind of perspective, you know.
I love that.
Yeah, I agree with Amy. I'm not a big reader. For fiction, I think the last fiction book I read was like the 50 Shades nonsense.
Yeah, same. Yeah, that's what
and
I just got in with the hype. Like,
and I read it at a time that I was single, so I could really like maximize on what it did.
Yeah,
so, but anyways,
the late night call.
I don't know if I read like self help. I think the last self-help book I read was The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. I loved that.
Same.
Yes. I think the biggest thing I took away from that is that you can't motivate others unless they themselves want to be motivated. So that was definitely worth like that book in itself. And I believe my other favorite it wasn't really even a self-help book though, again, was How to Think Like a Roman Empire. And that is all about stoicism, which I love. I love that. I'm trying to practice that. But again, yes, like sometimes self-help, it just takes you further and further and further down a rabbit hole. And, then maybe it turns into self-diagnosing of what we might not even have. But I love like Dale Carnegie books, that can not only improve yourself in the workplace, but also in everyday life. Books like that. One was Dark Manipulation. I just got through that. How to Negotiate. That's a great one. That's one you can use in the work and also in personal. So
The Puppet Master's Bible. I just read that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
You would like it.
Would I?
You would.
Is there a chapter in there on sexual seduction?
I don't believe so.
No. Well, there was one in the Dark Manipulation one.
I love that.
That was just, a refresher for me.
I guess you could apply certain principles from the book too.
Okay.
I would think. Yeah.
Final thoughts on life.
Final thoughts. I think it's important that we all tune in back to the inner voice, right? So back to listening to ourselves. And if you don't have an inner voice, or you don't, if it's mean, if it's angry, if it's telling you that you fucked up your whole day because you forgot to jog or whatever it was, that's not your inner voice. You have to be able to distinguish between what is your intuition, what is like your higher self, and what is your programming. Because that's really, I feel like the most important thing, to rewrite the programming if we've been conditioned to feel this way, because we're not meant to feel this way and live in fight or flight and having these unregulated nervous systems, which is a whole other thing.
Cortisol.
Yeah, we're not meant for that. So I think it's such a huge, important thing for, people to feel good about doing things for themselves and not guilty, because I think that's something we all get sucked into at one time or another.
Absolutely. Final life thoughts. Advice.
Be kind to yourself and give yourself grace. Give yourself shit sometimes.
Yeah.
But know when to give yourself shit and when to give yourself grace.
I love that. And
life is, you're either approaching a storm, you're in a storm, or you're coming out of a storm. And learn the lessons.
I love it.
I like that.
Yeah. Learn the lessons.
You're
go
either
with it. You're approaching a storm, you're in the storm, or you're coming out of it.
Isn't that one of the 7 hermetic principles? Like, life is all about cycles.
Who's Herman?
Hermetic?
What?
It just talks about how life goes in cycles.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna, like, good stuff isn't gonna last forever. Bad stuff isn't gonna last forever. And you're gonna go through different waves of that your whole life. So appreciate when it's good. Know when it's bad that it's not gonna last forever,
What is it teaching me?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Everything happens for a reason.
There's a lesson somewhere. I don't know what it is now, but I'll figure it out when it's all over.
And we're not going to check anybody else's boxes but our own.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good. I love that.
I love that. So good.
Whose boxes are you checking?
Yeah.
Are they yours?
I love that.
I love that.
Well, thank you guys for coming once again. This
Yeah.
is
Jill.
good.
Such a good hostess.
We love this. Thank you all, listeners, for tuning in for another episode of Shifting Perspectives, the Baja Beach Wellness Diaries. We'll see y'all next week. Tune into all platforms and come check us out. We got all the services ready for you. Yay!